That don't kill me, can only make me stronger. I need you to hurry up now, cause I can't wait much longer. I know I got to be right now, cause I can't get much stronger. Man, I've been waiting all night now, that's how long I've been on ya. I need you right now.
Well, anytime you do a extensive amount of time, it can have two effects. It can harden you, or it can make you think. And I thought you think about preparing yourself for the future and preparing yourself for one day when you will return to the streets. If you're prepared, yes, I'm prepared. I've got employment. I want to do something for the community. I see these kids coming in here every day with 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Their life is wasted just like I wasted mine. We all black people.
So it was just an honor to meet him. You know, he's a quiet person, highly intelligent, very nice, very good brother. And we had an opportunity to meet. He was somebody that all my life, I used to be a GD. So brothers had always told me that he was somebody, that I was somebody that Mr. Hoover would like to meet. And that I would, and that would, embrace me. And I was always a thinking person. I found Larry Hoover to be highly intelligent. A true born leader. Highly intelligent. A true born leader. And it was interesting that I had saw on national television one night. They were talking to Bill Clinton about a gang. They had a gang task force throughout the United States, and they were talking about the disciples, and they mentioned Larry Hoover's name. And so the next day when I saw Mr. Hoover, I told him that I saw them talking about him on national news, and I was concerned. And Mr. Hoover said to me, he said, man, he said, I know I'm never getting out. He said, I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is my family. He's a true giant. That man had no regard for himself.
Larry Hoover is an example of a man that was turning his life around, and as soon as he tried to turn his life around, they hit him with 6 life sentences. So I believe you say don't tear down the statues? Larry Hoover is a living statue. He's a beacon.
What Kanye West acts when he acts to free that man, I don't even understand. I don't think y'all understand the depths of what he asked for. If that alone was what he asked for, and we can get that, and hope and pray that Larry Hoover still have the strength to fight that fight and make that change in the people.
Redirect the energies of my immediate organization. I was one of the principal components in forging the United Peace Organization, which is designed to stop kids from killing each other. I know what they're doing. I see the mistakes. I've made the mistakes. I'm in a position to maybe correct them before they make the same mistakes I made.
He's an excellent guy. I remember once when we was about 10 years old, he was playing in the street, and I fell out on the street. And all other chumps was around laughing, and nobody came to my aid but Larry.
What would Larry do?
He picked me up, shook me out, got me back to conscious.
When I think of Larry Hoover, I think of 2 scenarios. One is this monster that the government wanted to create. That this was this horrible person who ran a gang from a prison for over 20 years. And then I think about the Larry Hoover, the individual that I know, who is a very bright, very articulate, a young man who has the ability to influence people, to encourage people to do the right things, a person who is just a very dynamic individual.
All I can say is that I can't take back what I've done. Obviously, I've been convicted of it. All I can do is try to do something to ensure that this doesn't happen again. By using the time that I've done and the thought process I've developed to try to make sure no other youngsters don't do the same thing I did.
When the feds came in, they swooped in the neighborhoods and they snatched the Larry Hoovers. Then they came in again and they snatched the next generation of Larry Hoovers, and then they came in again. When they did this, they took the muscle, they took the military, they took the leaders out of the hood, the warriors out of the hood. There was no fathers in the home, not enough fathers. So now, even though these drug dealers, they were living an illegal life, some of them still were manly men who walked a certain type of way, and they gave dudes like me something to look up to, even though they were wrong. So now you get the younger generations that's living reckless. They're not living by no code, by no honor at all. And I'm not saying this honor amongst thieves. It's not what I'm saying. But yet and still, even amongst the drug dealers, they had some type of honor, some type of principles. When these drug dealers were swept away, there was no leadership in the streets. When you look at the generation of today and the generation of yesterday, we are in total chaos.
They say gangs are usually started because there's a lack of parental guidance. But that wasn't really so with Hoover. Because of his family values and his beliefs, it made him a natural leader. People seemed to flock to him.
For us, that needs to see his family, that needs to go out and represent. When you have a block leader on every single block, they can own the block as their own. That's something I learned from Jim Brown, from Mayor I Can. We need to put curriculums from people who really came from the streets, not people who are just trying to set us up to go into a work system or prison system that applies to what people are really going through, which Jim Brown has created.
I don't think y'all people understand the importance of that man being freed. Larry Hoover is one of the most powerfulest men in this country. Chicago is a hellhole. Chicago is like a third world country with the violence that's going on amongst the youth, amongst the deaths in the street, the murders. They locking up our children. They locking up the fathers. And the next generations is growing up without any leaders. So you got boys raising boys. I'm not saying that Larry Hoover is supposed to be Jesus cutting through the sky. But what I am saying, there's a good possibility that he could be just as good as Jesus cutting through the sky.
Political. He was a black man that had the power to come out and galvanize votes across this country. And when the government found out that he had plans to 21st century vote to come out and be involved politically, that's when they went about going about the process of trying to have him indicted on these conspiracy charges. And that's when they took him out of state court and brought him into federal court. And so it's a terrible thing, because he was one man that I really believe could have come out and really brought together young brothers across this country and brought them to the table to vote. And that's where the power is. And that's why I believe there was a collective conspiracy to have him locked up. I know there is.
Of his status that can come out to these streets and make them soldiers put them guns down and make them pick up them books. Who wouldn't want that? Your next door neighbors is killing each other in the middle of the street. This has been going on way too long. And you walk outside in the streets with these people going through that type of pain, with them young boys sitting up there watching their mama not be able to feed their brothers and sisters. So now you got a 13, 14-year-old boy picking up a gun and starting to do stick-ups. And you just coming out of your temple or wherever you coming from, meditating, and that young boy see you. with your pocketbook, or you with your wallet, and all he knows his brothers and sisters is upstairs, and they ain't got no food on the stove. Larry Hoover changed his life. And I personally believe that if you let that man go, and that man got a chance to come back out here, he would be the next Malcolm X. He was already on the verge of that before they snatched him away. That's why they snatched him. I think we need to start a petition to get Larry Hoover out.
I'm going home one of these days. I'm going home, see my woman, whom I love so dear. But meanwhile, I've got to work right here. That's the sound of the men working on the chain gang. That's the sound.